Hello, and welcome to Dolphin's Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted at handelabra.com or something. Twitch.tv/Handelabra. I don't even know my intro anymore. I think it's getting worse every week. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively work against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. You can follow us at Handelabra Games on Twitch. Follow me personally at Logic Dolphin on Twitch, Discord, YouTube, or pretty much any avenue. And check out Handelabra products at handelabra.com. Yeah, that's the synopsis. I might need to tweak that intro a bit. It's a bit long. No one cares. Everyone wants to see Spirit Island or something. I don't know. New game. Let's go. I'm going to do something weird. 3 boards. Any complexity. Random adversary. Random supporting adversary. However, I'm going to take this one off. Okay. So I've not done 2 adversaries before. Let's do... No. That. Let's do 2 there, 2 there. Huh? I don't actually remember how dual adversaries works. I believe from what I recall that escalation on stage 2 comes from the primary adversary, stage 3 comes from the secondary adversary, and that pretty much all the rules go at the same time, I think. Maybe, in terms of like fear card adding and whatnot. I don't know. Let's just see what happens. I'm here to just play around. Difficulty 11. Oh, it's a good start. We're already at difficulty 11. That's like past 6 on France, past 6 on Brandenburg, Prussia. What's the worst that could happen? Well, all right. So with France, we have the lost condition, sprawling plantations. There's a limit of 7 towns per starting board. Invaders win if you ever cannot place a town. Stage 2 escalation, demand for new cash crops. After exploring on each board, pick a land with the shown terrain. If it has buildings, add a blight, otherwise add a town. We have 1 additional tier level 2 fear card. Frontier explorers, except during setup, after invaders successfully explore into a land which had no buildings, add an explorer there. Slave labor, during setup, put the slave rebellion event on the top 3 cards of the event deck. After invaders build in a land with 2 explorers or more, replace all but 1 explorer there with an equal number of towns. And of course, that's the Slave Rebellion card that we'll forget exists until it pops up. Also, Brandenburg, Prussia, which has no loss condition, and the Stage 3 escalation land rush. On each board with buildings, add a town to a land without towns. And no changes to the fear deck. Fast start. During setup on each board, add a town to land number 3. Surge of colonists. When making the invader deck, put 1 of the Stage 3 cards between Stage 1 and Stage 2. So, yeah. So pretty much the only change that Brandenburg, Prussia introduces an early stage 3 card, which means that stage 3 escalation would go off, apparently. And we have a town to land 3 as well as the stage 3 escalation. And of course, France cares all about the towns. It says difficulty 11, but it can't possibly be difficulty 11, right? Now, I wanted to play with an empty board, which I also don't remember exactly how that works. I've only played it a couple of times. I believe it starts with no invaders, but it still explores as usual. But we'll see. Shifting Memory of Ages is here. I don't think I've actually played it on stream yet, since, well, I've been absent for a while. But as the special rule, Long Ages of Knowledge and Forgetfulness, when you would forget a power card from your hand, you may instead discard it, max 1 per action. So he loves major powers. Also, Insights into the World's Nature. Some of your actions that you prepare element markers which are kept here until used. Choose the elements freely. Each element marker spent grants 1 of that element for a single action. And unlike most other spirits that have elements on their presence tracks, he just has prepare element marker. Prepare element marker. discard 2 element markers for +1 card play. Also, the innate power Observe the Ever-Changing World can prepare an element marker, or after each of the next 3 actions that change which pieces are in target land, prepare 1 element marker. So, more freely able to gain elements, but only for 1 per action, since you can store them here and spend them as needed. And there's actually no limit to the number of element markers from what I've read, so I can have as many fires as I want. I'm just so fired up by that. Also learn the Invader's Tactics, which grants Defend. And growth option, pick 1, either reclaim cards, add a presence at range 0, or gain a power card, add a presence at range 2, or add a presence at range 1, gain 2 energy, or gain 9 energy. Just 9 energy right there. Except you don't place a presence. Gets up to 6 energy per turn, 3 card plays per turn, although you could discard 2 element markers for +1 card play. Also has a reclaim 1. Nice. Setup. Put 2 presents on your starting board in the highest numbered land, that is sands or mountain. Prepare a moon, an air, and an earth marker. Extremely good with major powers and usually wants to take them early and often. Really? What makes you think that he's really good at major powers? Also, we have Shroud of Silent Mist. Let's start with the setup. Put 2 presents on your starting board, 1 in the highest numbered wetland and 1 in the highest numbered mountain. And special rules, gather power from the cool and dark. Once per turn, when you gain a power card without fire, gain 1 energy. Mist Shift and Flow. When targeting a land with power, you may gather 1 of your presents into the target or an adjacent land. This can enable you to meet range and targeting requirements. But the more important thing, Slow and Silent Death. Invaders and Dahan near lands don't heal damage. During time passes, 1 fear max 5 per land of yours with damaged invaders. Gain 1 energy per 3 lands of yours with damaged invaders. So he loves to leave things around damaged. And also lots of free fear generation, which is fun. Growth options, reclaim cards, gain a power card, or add presence at range 0 twice, or gain a power card and add a presence to mountains or wetlands at range 3. Gets up to 2 energy per turn, 5 card plays per turn, with a water, an air, a moon. Can also move a presence and reclaim 1. And of course, with that special rule, presence with mist is actually flowing, not static. So, and the way that I've been playing Mist, at least I don't know if this is correct, probably is or is not, I do not know. But Mist tends to be in many lands and likes to move around to where pieces are damaged, so. Which is nice when all the innate powers are range 0. We have Suffocating Shroud, 1 damage for each adjacent land with your presence, 1 damage to a different invader, 1 damage to each invader. But also Lost in the Swirling Haze, push up to 1 Dahan, push up to 2 Explorers or Dahan, push up to 2 Explorers or Dahan. All range 0, but you can actually effectively make it range 1 by gathering your presence into the target land. And then, of course, these powers that exist. I didn't look at the ones for Shifting Memory of Ages, but minor power, prepare element marker, Dahan destruction less or gathering. Turn the top card of the fear deck face up. Whoa, that's a bringer power, sort of. Also, damage to each invader. Fear if invaders are present. Prevent presence destruction when it happens. For each adjacent land with your presence, 1 damage to a different invader, push Dahan, or damaged invaders do not participate in Ravage or defend per presence you have in target land when this power is used. Nice. Okay, well, let's go. No idea what's going to happen. 25 towns. Also exploring wetlands, which is great as they already explored all of the extra board. There's a limit of 27 towns. Invaders win if you ever cannot place a town. All right, let's take a look at the how to play. Although I don't know where it would actually appear, but... Uh-huh. Spirit panels. Uh-huh. Finder of Paths Unseen. Spoilers. Uh-huh. With Jagged Earth, you can play with a larger island by adding an extra board with no spirits starting on it. Dahan Blight spirit tokens are set up on the extra board normally. No adversary invaders or blight are placed on the extra board. Other non-adversary invaders are placed as follows. With one, there's not even an initial explorer. Aha. With two spirits, we only have the initial explorer. I see. So it's not that it doesn't start with nothing. It's just I only ever played with two spirits. So they did do the initial explorer, which did hit the lands. But if I only played with one spirit, there would not even be an initial explorer. So that's nice. Setup will be slightly different using thematic boards. Playing with three spirits and the extra board does not have a coastal city, you'll have a coastal town instead. Additionally, the removal of setup invaders will have a greater effect than on the balance boards. What about having adversaries? What about having multiple adversaries? Where does it say that? Setting up a new game? Adding an extra board makes the game more difficult. So I think that's why we're at difficulty 11. It's just that it was +4 from 7 or something. Archipelagos we're not doing. But where's the thing about oh, there it is, probably. Yes. After choosing the first leading adversary, choose a supporting adversary. The rule changes for both adversaries will be affected in the game. The leading adversary's escalation effect will apply normally. The supporting adversary will apply its escalation effect on all stage 3 invader cards. The combined difficulty of two adversaries is calculated as the higher of the two difficulties plus 62.5% of the lower, rounded to the nearest whole number. So, what does the math mean for that then? We have 5 and 4. So the highest is 5, as well as 62.5% of 4. Rounded up, did it say? Not on this page? No. This page? Yes. Rounded to the nearest whole number. Okay, no, it's not rounded up. 62.5% is 5/8. 5/8 of 4 is 2.5. So that rounds to 3. So 5 and 3, which is 8, which is greater than 7. So we also added 4 points for the extra board, right? Also here's another thing. Each tier level in the fear deck uses 3 of your cards, the base plus the extra cards added or subtracted by each adversary. If both adversaries modify the invader deck, first all the instructions on the supporting adversary are applied in order, and then all the instructions on the leading adversary are applied in order. Impossible instructions are skipped. If an instruction is ambiguous about which card is removed, the topmost applicable card is removed. If an instruction is ambiguous about which card to move, the bottommost applicable card is moved. Brandenburg Prussia's level 2 effect is treated as move the bottommost stage 3 card just below the bottommost stage 1 card. If playing versus France level 2 or higher, the town limit is increased by 1 per starting board for each level of the other adversary being played. There we go. That's why we're at 27 towns. Well, whatever. I saw the thing about difficulties and I forgot where it was. Also, there's 10 cards in the fear deck. Go back here. So why are there 5? Why is there 10, which is 2 per spirit? Or 5 per spirit? Excellent question. I'm asking myself. To no one in particular. I think it'd be in setup, though. Including the extra on board. The requirements to earn a fear card is increased by 1 per spirit. Okay, there we go. And here's the other one. Each board effects happen once per board. Each player effects happen once per spirit, which... Okay. And there it is. Difficulty 6 or more adds +4. Okay. I'm finally caught up. Finally found what I wanted to find. So we have 27 towns because it's the base 7 per player. Sorry, 7 per board even. And then we add 2 for branded pressure 2. So it's 9 per board, which is 27. And the difficulty was 11, which I guess maths. Healthy Island is 2 blight per starting board +1, so we're at 7. Okay. Alright, let's play the game. These are the builds. They're all building. Okay. Notice there's no board on spirit on a there's no spirit on board G. There's no board on spirit G. Yes, that's also what I meant to say. Okay. And this is mist and this is shifting memory. Yes. So one of the basic things you can do is let them build in a land on Mist's board and damage it so they get damaged and then make them not participate in Ravage. It's not inherently a defend. The only defend that we do have is Unnerving Pull, which is defend per presence in target land when power is used. But like for F3, there's going to be a city in there. It's going to be dealing 6 damage. I would need defend 5, which is 5 presence, which is a lot, especially when I'm starting in F7 and I can only place 2 presence at range 0, so I'd have to shift my presence over to get to that point. So I feel like that's not really that good. I could push the Dahan out in the slow phase and also my presence. Well, I can't push my presence out immediately, but can move my presence with a different power and then let that land ravage or something. Starting with 0 energy, so I feel like I want to get to 1 energy here. I would also like to get to 2 card plays, which means I'm putting 2 presence down, which also means it's harder for me to get to F3. Also, I'm in F6. Not that that's relevant, but I am. So, like, my instinct is to do this. I'm gonna just put it in both my lands so I don't have a super stack, although it doesn't really matter as my presence will be moving. So I have 2 card plays and 1 energy, so I can play this and one of these 2, which I'm not... There's no Ravage this turn, so I'd want to click this one. Does that make sense to do? For each adjacent land with your presence, 1 damage to a different Vader, push 2 Dahan, but also 1 damage, and also push up to 1 Dahan, and also blowing in silent forms dart by, which pretty much is just fear. Doesn't do anything else. All of these are range 0 though. So for me to get to F3, I'd have to do a lot of movement. Like I'd have to use 1 power in F4 and then 1 in F3. But it would be ideal if I could get, like, you know, 2 fear immediately and then hit F4 with one of these in the slow phase. I could also just say that F3 is lost cause, and that Dahan is just going to be sacrificed, because that's a lot of effort to get even there. So I don't know. With shifting memory, I've only played a couple of games. Also starts with 0 energy per turn and 1 card play, and can only place 1 presence per turn. But it's tempting to click the 9 energy button on turn 1 and get a major on turn 2. And that major could be pretty much how I'm building my game around. I'm only placing 1 presence per turn, which also kind of sucks, but if I were to do that, I feel like I'd be doing Boon of Ancient Memories on myself, gain a minor power that I'm pretty much going to quote-unquote forget for the major. I say quote-unquote because I don't actually forget powers, I instead discard them if it's from my hand. It can't be from play or discard. The main issue with that, though, is that I will not have immediate recourse for what goes on this turn, pretty much. We do potentially have a defend 2 that we could use in H6. I would have to prepare maybe an earth. They do have an earth marker right now, but if the major power I have doesn't give earth, I would have to prepare an earth marker this turn to get to 2 in order to use this. Presumably the major would be something good, right? That's what majors are all about. But it might not be something good. You never know. And then there's, of course, board G. I mean, G2 is diseased, so that's cool. G4 is building. And that building is going to result in vision to G5, or visibility to G5, so if they explore sands, they'll get deeper into board G. However, I don't have an immediate means of preventing builds. I could gain a minor power in hopes of getting something that does that, but it's not guaranteed, and if I were to do that, I'm not getting a major power in turn 2. So let's just do this. It's kind of annoyingly slow, though. But we have 8 energy for next turn. Hopefully we get a good major power. It's not going to stop every single ravage, but an early major power means we can build around that. Alright, so I think that my immediate plans, therefore, assuming that we do like Unnerving Paul next turn. There's no Dahan in this land right now. But we probably want to have damaged buildings in our land anyway. We could damage F8. Damage to a different invader, though. We can use that to stop a build in the slow phase. We can use this to damage the town in F7. And then that ravage is solved. So you can like check that one. We're probably going to check that one. So everything else is going to Blight. 3 Blight on turn 1. Let's go. Or turn 2 even. So I'm not spending for that this turn. I can prepare an element marker. I'm not going to spend because we're not going to get enough things out of it. Let's take an earth. And then generate fear. I can move this presence out. Right. So let's go ahead and move it into F4. And not use that one. Invaders explore jungles. Alright, so jungles wasn't one that they had increased visibility to on board G. I mean, technically, yes, but that's because they already had that wetlands there. I guess maybe if they didn't build here, they wouldn't have seen that. Or, well, they also, yeah, okay. All of the above, okay. Just all of the above. Okay, so jungles. I could try to prevent the G7 build. It is made a bit difficult by the fact that, like, I do have this power that says damage to a different invader, but it has to be with presence for each adjacent land with my presence, which you would think this would be 2, but I have to actually move one of these presences in here, so it'd just be 1 after that, so it'd only deal 1 damage. We could push the Dahan out of F3, like we originally thought of doing. Not sure how I feel about that. We do have a minor power. I guess we should get that first. Target myself. Uh-huh. So we're interested in moon, earth, air. None of these have earth. 3 of these have air, and 1 of them have moon, and none of them are on the same card. So that's great. Gather 1, explore a town is kind of useless. Call of the Dawn Ways grants me a moon, which allows me to prepare element markers. I feel like that moon is a little more important than anything else. As if I can't prepare an element marker, then what is this all about? What have I been working towards? Absolutely nothing, that's what. Fire in the sky is always great, though. Adding a strife. Air is the least relevant, as it just augments effects. But if I don't even have the base effects, it does nothing. And it's also France, so... I'm gonna click Call the Dahan Ways and you can't stop me. Alright. Now what? Still feel like F3 is a lost cause. I just have to nick the town in F7 and leave my presence in there. I guess we can stop the build in F5 if I do this. I have to gather this presence. It's 2 adjacent lands. I can push this Dahan somewhere, I guess. Go here. Damage. Let's grow in here. Damage that town. I do want to have a damaged building in my land. I have a push at Dahan. Don't really know where I want it. This Dahan obviously is... I can't reach anymore because I moved my presence for whatever reason, but... Don't really want to put a presence in there if it's going to die, though. Maybe I just do this first and push this Dahan out. And then damage. I can grow into mountains or wetlands more easily, so let's gather this guy into there. Just so I'm in more lands with buildings, I guess. Alright, and now the very important major power grab. Bargains of power and protection. Well, I gain 1 less energy per turn, but each Dahan within range 1 of my presence provides defend 1 in this land. That would immediately defend H6 without me trying. Unfortunately, we don't have Dahan in enough places for it to super matter, though. I guess we could try to... We could try to do something with Share Secrets of Survival. But... that's range 1 from a Sacred Site, and the only Sacred Site it will have is an H8. Walls of Rock and Thorn is not targeting the right lands. Mists of Oblivion is actually the exact right elements for Mist. Weird. Weird that the Mists card is a Mist card. Although, probably still sucks as a major for Mist because its fear per building is power destroys, but anyway. Fire and Flood is a lot of damage. But Bargains of Power is certainly tempting. We're definitely not going to have three sun, 2 water, 2 earth. We're close to it. But we're not getting... yeah, we're not getting all the things. So... you're probably also gaining a power. We're playing Unnerving Paul for sure, right? In F7. I mean, we don't have to. We can just vacate our presence, I guess. If we take a power card without fire, we gain an energy. Good news, they all don't have fire. Veil the Knight's Hunt would stop the build in G7. Promises of protection would gather 2 Dahan for like G4. And we want moon, air, water. Top 2 don't have any of those. This one has moon, air. This one has water. Let's take Veil. And then I feel like I need energy track more than I need card place track. This grows into mountains or wetlands. So we're taking bargains. No steam vents. Quit and restart. There needs to be a game mode where it says steam vents always appears in your first power card selection. All right. Gather 2 Dawn. That's not going to be enough defend for H7, even if I... well, I guess I could defend 3. Defend 3 would be interesting. Let's get rid of the Fear card deck 1. Fear card deck, yes. Fear deck 1. And then I need my presence to be far away. As far away as I can make it. Adversary, Finland. Ah, yes, of course. let's go here. And then do this one, this one. I would really like to... I'd really like to get this, but I can't. I can't even do the stupid after next 3 actions one for like stupid cost, but I can't do that. So we're gonna have to remove a presence on the island from the game. It's probably gonna be the Sacred Site one, which means I need to do this effect first. However, the nice thing is we get to Defend 3 without spending elements, so that's cool. I have that going for me, which is nice. I don't think it makes sense to prepare an element marker if I'm spending an element marker for it, unless I spend that moon to get a different element that's not moon, but it's not going to do anything this turn anyway. And then Silent Mist. What do you want? I was thinking we're thinking water. We're thinking of mountains, wetlands. Can only really play the left 2 cards. So we have Damage Invaders for F7 and Veil the Night's Hunt, which I really would like to do to stop the build in G7, but I feel like it's more prudent to defend G4. So this is done, this is done, this is done. So the only blight is then coming from F3. Okay. So I think we need better visibility of board G, maybe? Well, there's nothing in board G though, is the thing. Let's go into H3 because there's a town there, I guess. We have Suffocating Shroud for 1 damage, so we can get another land with damaged building. Alright, so Share Secrets. Gather 2 Dahan. Then Bargains. Then Defend. Then Veil. And get my presence out of F3. Push Dahan in. Kill the Explorer in F7, I guess. And let's put that presence in there. Remove Invaders from Ravage. And I don't want the element marker. Everything is done. Only 1 blight. That's good. Alright. The Struggles of Growth. A painful crux point. Each spirit chooses. Trade Reach for Deeper Nature. Destroy 2 of your presence. Gain a power card. Leave behind that which restrains you. Forget a power card. Gain 2 energy. Move up the 2 of your presence up to range 4. We also have Ignore Disease during builds. Fear per board with disease, and when invaders ravage if the land has Dahan, defend 2. All that would have been nice to know. Well, I'm gonna have this guy trade reach and lose the game. No, I'm not. Obviously, he is forced to forget a power card. Of course, the interesting thing is Mist going to do the same? Now you gain once per turn. Oh, we already gained a power card without fire. Has been used this turn. Yeah, so I can't gain a power card and gain energy that way, because I already did it. Gaining energy is probably a better idea than gaining a power card, though, considering that your energy gain is kind of sad. Kind of would like to not forget dissolving vapors. Kind of would be nice to possibly gain a power card next turn instead of reclaiming. I guess that also gains a power card, but you always want to place presence down. That said, this is 2 energy for a damage to each invader action, which is expensive. So let's just forget it. Whatever. I got energy, and I can move my presence up to range 4, which is far. So let's like put this presence over here. And now all my presences are in lands. I guess this one's not gonna have any buildings after the Ravage is over though. Maybe it's better for it to go in H1. I'll just leave it there. You have to leave behind. So you're gonna forget a power card, except you discard it instead. Ha ha! Kind of better for you to be 1 over. Because now you have defend over here, which does like nothing, but exists. And I could move this. Move you over here, just so you have better H visibility. Get 1/2 fear there. Defend. I guess I didn't need to move for that defend. Whatever. I said this town didn't have to participate in Ravage. I could skip it though. It says up to 3 buildings may not participate in Ravage. I could say 0. Let the town get destroyed. Generates a fear. Or I could leave it there and then have a damaged building, but let's get rid of it. By get rid of, I mean don't click it. It does mean that Mist generates fewer fear over the long term. But let's focus on getting rid of inland buildings. Town conversion, town conversion, town conversion. And we also need to be mindful of town counts, as this is France. Fear farms can be dangerous, and you're playing France too. That sentence needs more alliteration. Fear farms can frick up your frickin' game. Okay, I can't just use the F word. Fear farms can fail, and you're flailing against France, frankly. Frankly? Is frankly a word? I don't know if that's a word. To be frank, I don't know. Fear farms frequently frighten friends. There we go. That's a lot better than whatever crap I was coming up with. In France. Oh, man. That reminds me of the Portal 2 quote where GLaDOS was like, let's see what your test results say. That dress looks hideous. Well, what do they know? Oh, wait. They have a fashion degree. They have a PhD in fashion from France. Frank actually means a French person. Ah. Nifty. Okay, I can 1 damage. And that's it. Also, they explored sands. And they're ravaging jungles. Not there, though. You know what's great? Having the chat window flip out and move all around with ads appearing and disappearing. GG Twitch. Yep, Twitch always twitching. Yep. Thanks, Twitch. Alright. I'm so glad I put my presence in G7 with both my spirits, and I don't even have an immediate plan for G7. Obviously gaining a power card. Bear in mind that I'm gaining 1 less energy per turn, so even if I get to 1 energy here, I'm actually not going to gain it. Gaining a major would also mean I have to forget a card, which if I want to maintain all my cards, I'd have to forget Call of the Dahan Ways. I'd like to play Call of the Dahan Ways, so maybe I'm gaining a minor next turn. Hopefully something that moves Dahan, so I can get defense in G7. And obviously I'd like to use Bargains of Power and Protection a second time, so each Dahan provides defend 2. But we're not there yet. Mist is reclaiming, so we do have a push 3 Dahan potential. Would like to maybe end this turn with a damaged building. Why do I have an exclamation point there? I do not know. Oh, because it was the Ravage, right? Okay. Still have these left over from Ravages and builds. Okay. Also, H5 is a Blight. It's a Cascade, even. H3 has a Dahan already. I would like to deal with all of these lands at the same time. If F2 can Blight, that's fine. I don't care about F2. And that's not even thinking about the builds this turn. We're adding 8 towns, which is half the towns I have left in my stack. Okay. Also, the stage 3 card coming up. What? So I do potentially have the thing where a damaged invader doesn't deal damage, so... maybe I just damage one of these towns, and then put 2 Dahan in there and it's enough to defend. I can move a presence. None of these have things in them. So I'm gonna skip. Alright, gain power card. Looking for Moon, Earth, Air. 3 of these have Moon, Air. So that's nice. Land of Haunts and Embers. None of these have Earth, by the way, so this defend is going to be expensive. But we can stop the H1 Ravage by just putting a Blight down and pushing 2 buildings. You're gaining a power card. Ah! You want Moon, Air, Water. It says Moon, Water. This has an element of your choice. Most likely, though, we're going to be doing Unnerving Paul and Veil the Night's Hunt. Same cards as last turn. Granting shifting memory to Earth. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to click. Undo. There you go. Push one Explorer is lame. Push one Explorer is still lame. Let's take this one as that's less lame. Take this one as its moon water. Do those. Add presence. Sands build. This is range 2. So that will give you defend 2 and F1 down the road. Call of Dahan Ways replaces a town, so that's going to be good. Also, Slave Rebellion is next turn, let's not forget. So I don't have immediate recourse for H5 at all. Okay. Maybe it's just defend in this land. Because once I get the Han in there... Do I even care about putting my presence in there? Maybe that's better, maybe not, I don't know. But G7 is defended. Wait. I have this. Okay. Before I do all of that. Let's gain elements. Let's take a sun. And then Veil. Aha! This needs water as well. Aha! Let's take sun. Nice. So that's defended. Probably just defend this. H5 is a cascade. F2 is the blight. So Land of Haunted Embers in H5 is just going to cause the cascade anyway, so it's foolish to just do it there for fun. Probably better to just prevent a build with this. Probably just push G3 into G2. Okay. For the rest of this turn, after an action destroys a building, add a town to an adjacent land. Screw you. Screw you. Virulence among close-packed homes. On each board, add disease to the inland land with most buildings. Offerings of story and season. Each spirit 3 Dawn. Among all its lands, gains an energy, it may reclaim 1 card. That's both of us, because we're both in lands with 2 Dahan. 4 total. Alright, add disease to the inland land with most buildings on each board, so this goes on all 3 boards. No choice there. Sands build, so I can't touch that one. Do it in the blighted land. And then illusion of choice there. And a reclaim. Sure. Favorite card says strife to a town. Ooh. Uh-huh. You can completely stop the cascade of 2 strifes in H5. But, and bear with me on this could be Slave Rebellion setup. Strifing H7 works for that. Strifing H3, if I damage it in the slow phase, it doesn't heal, and it also converts. Is that worth stopping a cascade? Is that worth not stopping a cascade, that is? I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes, because strifing these towns doesn't get rid of them. Town was destroyed, so I add a town to the neighboring land. H2. I could theoretically have done that in H8. Although they're building there, so no, not that. I could have done an H6, they're not building there, and that would be a Slave Rebellion target, but I think I want to target H8 with Slave Rebellion. This is on each board, add strife to a town. I'm Call of the Dahan Wazing maybe in there? Or F1, one of those two? I don't know, we'll figure it out. Town was destroyed there, so I have to add a town to a neighboring land. Let's keep it out of board G as much as possible. That one, it's blighted, but whatever. Mountains and wetlands. You get this Prussia escalation, add town to a land without towns. Okay. Either G1 or G7 becomes Slave Rebellion target. I guess I'll just put it in H6 there. Actually, I probably shouldn't have done it. Well, I guess I don't have a Slave Rebellion target on board G, so yeah. This board I do have choices, so I'd rather it not be in mountains. So that one. And I'm not scared about this next turn and all of its towns. I'm not scared. You're scared. G2 is now even worse. Oh boy. What have I done? We're adding 17 towns. Okay. Well, this presence doesn't want to be there anyway. Okay. I'm not scared. Okay. I'm using this next turn. Which means... This will be defended. That's not defended unless I call the Dahan Ways there. Which is probably what I'm gonna do. Now it's gonna be defended. It's already defended even. Something that can clear out G2 would be nice, but it has to be a minor unless I'm just gonna forget a power for my discard. Also has to be something that grants sun and earth, hopefully. Well, I do have 2 suns. I can hit all the elements with my element markers except for earth. Unless I guess I could just do this. Let's gain a minor since energy is still tight and is going to be tight for a long time. And I do have earths. I have a moon earth here. But none of those deal with G2. Poison Dew would, except it's slow. Well, that sucks. Also, G5 is a problem. But I don't have anything for that. None of these do anything. Gift of Living Energy is the only fast power, and it just grants energy. Call to Ferocity, given that Dahan are going to be defend for me, it's kind of good. And it is going to save me some sun and earth tokens. Assuming that I even make it to the slow phase. We do have France escalation, so I have to be mindful of that. Maybe it's a major on Silent Mist. I only have 4 energy. I will have an extra energy, and if it's not fire, I get an extra energy. Come on, major. Gather 5 towns, 5 Dahan, 5 beasts, and 15 explorers. Does that do it? Again, I want moon, air, water. Honestly, though, this is probably really good. 15 explorers stops a lot of towns. If it hits the right land. Like, obviously, G2... It's expensive is the main issue, but I think we will have exactly the right number of energy, right? We'll have an extra energy there, and it doesn't have fires, so I get an extra energy there, so that's 6. Is it bad that I'm kind of thinking of doing it in G5 as it hits 3 lands? I guess the problem is it doesn't say gather up to, it's forced gathering, so it would gather the 2 Dahan in G7. So those Dahan would be dead. I mean, we will have defend 4 in that land. Versus 20 some damage or something. Is what? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14. It could be Slave Rebellion did, so it's 12 damage versus 3 Dahan, which is defense 6. It's close. As in not at all, but... Could maybe do G7. That will stop G8, G4, H4, F7, and F4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 explorers. 1, 2, 3 towns. Also, will move these two Dahan and this Dahan over. The jungle's not relevant for anything, but it does mean that the Slave Rebellion target on board F would have to be in F1, which is otherwise going to be defended from the Ravage anyway, so it's a bit less useful. I'm taking it. Let's see if I can forget one of these. I feel like these are both good, but I would rather forget a card in my discard than from hand to postpone the reclaim. Let's forget Unnerving Call, because I have defend in other ways. This does need a Sacred Site, but I'm not really worried about that, as my presence can move very easily. This is to a mountain or wetland. Wait, I took the wrong one. I clicked the wrong thing. Okay. The air one would grant this one. Okay. So yeah, if I click G7 with this, what does that do? Prevents 2 towns, a city, 2 more towns, 2 more towns, 2 more towns. So 2, 4, 6, 8 towns and a city. What's that at 9 towns, 4 cities? There's 5 towns in G2. The only way to prevent that would be to target G6, G5, or G4. If I target G4, it's no good, as that's just gonna... They're still gonna build the towns anyway. If I do G5, that land will ravage with Dahan, which is not ideal at all. Even if I get defend in there, which... I can do at most defend 3. Versus what I think we said was 12. But stopping 5, 7, 9 towns. It's 8 towns in a city or 9 towns are the 2 options, but the 9 towns is going to result in a cascade and the destruction of 3 Dahan. G7 I think is better. It hits more lands, and then G2 is an isolated problem. Yeah, so I think... Also, it stops a Ravage, too. I think that's probably the best place for that. So then we still have these happening. This one's covered by the defend. So we still have 2 blight, which means we will flip the blight card, but none of these are going to help with it. I guess actually we could defend to prevent the blight card. I think I'd take Call to Ferocity since it was something that synergizes with bargains and also moves to Han, which also synergizes with bargains. All the bargains. Oh no, I don't have a sacred site from which to do irresistible call. Whatever shall I do? Shrinkage. I was in the pool! I was in the pool! Alright. Down to 9 towns. Also bargains. Take it from my presence track. Oh, it has to be in a land with Dahan. Spend that. Do I want to move presence in a certain way? This is just to generate fear and prevent destruction. Not really any reason to do that. I need to leave this presence there in order to get H8 defended, so... Is it worth defending to prevent the blight card at the cost of nothing? I just defend 2? Oh, okay. So that's 3 damage, right? Yes. Okay, so defend without spending. So it's just 1 blight. And then Slave Rebellion stuff. On board F, it's going to be an F1. On board H... this town will convert, this town converts, and probably convert the town in H6, because H8 is dying in the Ravage anyway. And then on board G, doing it in G1 stops the city build, but doesn't really affect the town count, but it's probably okay. That land will be automatically defended next turn anyway. Unless I want to throw a defend in there for some reason, but I don't think I want to. So we don't need to prepare an element marker. Slave Rebellion? No way! When exploring once per board, place a town instead of an explorer. No, that's bad. On each board, add beast to a land without blight that has town. During Ravage, Neverland, defend 1 per Dahan. Well, that would have defended G5. Skip all build actions and lands with city. Coastal. Okay, there's no escalation here. So replacing 3 towns just with this. Mountains Wetlands is immediately ravaging. This one is already defended. That one is not. This one is almost good. Might just damage the town in there so that everything dies in the ravage. And then here it's just, yeah. They still place an explorer down. Okay. Okay. So how many towns is that now? Next turn, 9, with 2 left on the card. Okay. If I can do this to gather 3 Dahan into a land that's ravaging, that would be ravaging in a coastal land. That'd be nice. However, board G, I want to leave everything in G1 now, as that's building. G2, I don't seem to have any nearby Dahan other than G1, and then G3 is not ravaging. H7 is fine. Can I just reset all these? I know that it resets and time passes, but so that's defended. These are defended. Nothing in H4. This needs a little work, but a presence placement will do it, although not really, because I'm reclaiming. Unless I don't reclaim? What if I just gain a major power and forget something from discard the traditional way? Maybe I do that. Because then I can place presence down and get the defend. This would also be defended if I can get a presence close by. Or it already is defended, actually. So the problem spots, this one, this one. I thought there was another one. It's just 2? We have 1 damage and we have push a Dahan. None of those lands are close enough to any Dahan. When the Ravage goes off, we're going to lose 2 towns in G1, 2 towns in H3, a town in H7, a town in H6, and 2 towns in F6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 towns. So we will have enough for the build, but not for the escalation. And the escalation is on each board. I can use this to push an Explorer town out of H1, which doesn't stop that build, but I can push them into H6, which is defended. It says 9, but that's a lie because of the event. It's actually 3 Dahan at defend 2, so it's defend 6. So I can put an extra explorer in town in there safely. And that will drop the town build count by 1, as they're not going to replace one of these explorers with a town. Although it's still going to build a town, so I guess that's actually net neutral. But then we destroy a town. We destroy a town, and then neutral is on, instead of replacing an explorer with a town, we build a town. So yeah, it still saves a town. I think that's the best use. I don't see any lands where I could push Dahan to make the Ravage. I mean, obviously it'd have to be these 2 lands to push Dahan in. This one's not neighboring any Dahan. This one's neighboring Dahan, but in a land that I want to have Ravage. So I guess I do this. Here and push Explore Town. So there's 2 Dahan here. I want to damage a town in here. I can gather a presence in a neighboring land for whatever reason. Take this guy, I guess. Push town. We have Push Dahan. Wasn't this originally Mist's board? Wait a minute, I'm not on this board anymore. Mist has dissipated. I want to push one of these Dahan. You can take that presence. Push this guy closer to the G coast, just because. Alright, we have a fear card at tier level 2. We're gaining a major. Instruments of their own ruin adds a strife. None of these have earth, by the way. Or moon. This one grants air, and that's it. There's no strife buildings on the board right now. Feel like we're gaining a power with Mist. This one has to be minor, honestly. Steam vents. Three of these grant fire, which means I don't get the energy, but I don't really think that's the priority this turn. Sands, wetlands, isolate target land. Don't think that will do that much. Target spirit plays no other power card is useless. Destroy explorer would reduce the town count in a land. Does feel like it's gonna be sucking ooze though. Feels kind of icky though. The most that I can do with instruments is to not target a ravaging land, I think. I mean, obviously it's good for Slave Rebellion down the road, but if I were to target H2 with that, which is going to be complicated. Actually, I guess the other major issue with this is I need a Sacred Site. I don't have one right now, and I need to place a presence near H3. That's the whole reason why I clicked power here, was because I needed to put a presence near H3. Whereas Instruments requires a Sacred Site, and so does Pillar. Strangling Firevine destroys a lot of explorers. Unfortunately, I guess like G7 would be the perfect candidate for that, although it's diseased. But maybe it's sea monsters. Not that sea monsters is bad, but would be relevant. 3 damage per beasts, 1 damage per blight, adds a beasts. Hitting H2 with that would do 7 damage, kills 2 cities and an explorer. Or a city and 2 towns. I guess I clicked that one. Let's forget a unique power in case an event card says I can gain one. Boon of Ancient Memories, because I don't know. I just work here, man. And let's just grow right into H4. So that defend is there. Not gonna repeat this power. We're not even getting any of that. We don't even have prepare element marker this turn, unless I spend the moon. Let's take Earth. You. This is mountains, wetlands. Obviously growing into F3 is not gonna work. I can isolate it though, which doesn't really do anything. Isolating G7 also doesn't do anything, but at least feels like it's relevant for some reason. I don't know. Put it there. We have push 2 explorers to Hun. 1 damage. This is Icky turn. Kind of fear trust falling, I guess. Let's just isolate that land. Oh, I put my presence there, but I need a cascade target. Don't prepare element marker. During the Ravage step on each board, skip 1 Ravage action and they land where Dahan outnumber buildings. I don't like that. I think we lost because of that. We were reliant on destroying towns. Each land with beasts, damage per beasts. One fear, if any Dahanar lands with buildings. Strife in a different land with 2 invaders. 1 damage per strife they have. I mean, it doesn't matter at all because pretty much lost. Yeah, because that skipped. I want that Ravage to go off. This one will skip. Alright, we have Memory Fades the Dust. buttons with escalation. Okay, we didn't lose the build. We're still alive. Escalation is a blight or a town. However, yeah, we've lost. Both of these lands have nothing in them. Both these lands have nothing in them. So we lost. We lost to the event card. But we're probably still gonna lose. Well, that sucks. I'm bad at this game. We got 33 points. 22 for difficulty 11. 5 for 5 invader cards not in the deck. 12 for the 24 surviving Dahan, and -6 for the 13 Blight. Womp womp. Alright, new game. Let's do a speed run. One board. Any complexity. Random adversary. Random supporting adversary. I'm going to make these both base level though, just for no reason. Add another board. Remove the thing. There we go. Turn this so it looks normal. Let's not do shot us not missed. Well, actually, with one spirit, they skip the initial explore on board A. So maybe. What do we have? We have Russia, so beast destroyed by adversary rules is not relevant. And each board adds 2 explorers among lands with beasts. And France. Limit to 7 towns. After exploring, pick a land with shown turn of his buildings, add a blight, others out of town. Alright. Let's do that. We'll just do that. Singular spirit. Is it better to have this view or this view? Probably this view. Might as well, right? Okay, Sands Explore. And notice there's nothing on board A, although it doesn't actually matter that they skipped the initial explore, as the sands were not in range anyway. Oh well. Okay. So what do I do? Kind of the same kind of situation as turn 1 of the previous game. This land has Dahan. I'd have to make a lot of movement in order to get there to make things happen. But doing 1 energy and 2 card plays on turn 1 felt a bit silly, as I was playing this, which is just 2 fear. And then fog closes in, which also wasn't doing that much. So maybe I just click power card on this turn. If I get a power card that doesn't grant fire, I get an energy anyway. Which Twilight Fog brings madness? Mist Fog? Do you see it? Mist Fog? They're like, corporate wants you to find the difference between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture. So we could do 2 card plays then. Twilight Fog is free. It does push it to Han, but probably push it back in very easily. That just deals with B3 so good. And then I guess I play this one. So for each adjacent line with my presence, damage a different invader. So you can definitely find a place where that will be relevant, like B5, maybe. Although that's only going to be 1 adjacent presence by that point. Okay, everything is slow. Explore jungles. So they got board A visibility. Push that Dahan back in. Oops, don't want to do that. Let's do this first. Haul that land. Move anything. Stop the Innerland build, or do I just go pure fear generation? Screw it, fear generation. It's only one spirit. This is a fear machine. So what if I just never do double presence and I only ever gain power cards to postpone the reclaim? Isolate target land? Doesn't hit jungles. Each invader add its target land this turn may be immediately pushed to any adjacent land. That sounds fun. And it grants good elements for me. Mountain Wetland. Let's get deep on this board. Nerving Hall. I could let the land blight. Does that give me more stuff? Damage each invader. I guess I can't play Confounding Mists. I want to do that in this land. That makes sense to me. I could let it blight, but also push my presence out and generate fear. Okay. Don't move the presence. Confounding Mists. Nope. Push. This island's looking a bit misty. Wow, Bartz, we missed you. A painful crux point. Wait, RNG is stuck. This was the same event card from previous. Destroy 2 of my presence, gain a power card, forget a power card, gain 2 energy, move my presence range 2. Range 4. I will trade reach. Yeah, 4 presence on the island. That's enough, right? We already gained the energy from not fire this turn, right? So could gain a fire card since it's, you know, Crawling Panthers? These aren't really good elements. Moon, air, water. Water, water, moon, air. Jungle defend. I'll take jungle defend. Ignore disease. And defend. Explore does not affect coastal lands. Okay. That is defended. Oh no, but I get to push my blade. Let's go there. Build there. Push the town. Exploring mountains. They didn't explore A1. 1 damage, push 1 to Han. Let's damage here. I'm in 2 lands with damaged buildings. Push it to Han. Probably should have done that first. It's not really that important though. one's probably gonna blight. Let's just let that one blight. That's fine. It's gonna cascade, but it has no Dahan. It's fine. Your machine is active. Just clicking power card. Always click power card. So I keep looking at the wrong spot. Moon, air, water. None of these have water. This has moon but no air. These have air but no moon. Okay. Let's call the guard. Doesn't have fire. Works with Dawn, I guess. Mountains build. I can grow into mountains. I grow here. Unnerving Paul in one of those lands. Drift down in one of those lands. So damaged invaders don't ravage, defend. I want to keep where I'm at. Rising interest in the island, aided by air. I have 2 air. Buildings deal plus damage is not gonna do anything. So let's weave the lies and discard this expensive power card. Beast to a jungle without blight. Fear if invaders are present. Sure. And wilds to a land with Dahan. I like that. That one. That one. Remove explorer from a land matching a ravage card. Doesn't do much. Buildings are doing plus damage, right? Yeah, but this is still defended, and that town is not ravaging. Could just remove that town. Actually, that stops the cascade. I didn't even notice it was remove a town. Okay, cool. That is useful as this is France-ish. Move that export. Okay. Wait. Oh, no, there's still towns left. Okay. Stop that from ravaging. We are close to winning. No, there's a city. Never mind. Alright. Mountains build. Sands explore. Russia escalation. Why? Oh, because Russia's primary. Right. Add 2 explorers among lands with beasts. Okay. So jungles is not doing anything right now. Okay. Damage. So the ravages that we have. These 2. That 3. Builds here. And I am in 2 lands with damaged buildings. I will damage this one. I'm in 3 damaged lands, so I gained an energy. Cool. Maybe it's major power then. Call the guard isn't doing that much. I guess it defends this one. Or it defends this one too, but whatever. Sands build. Let's take major. Aha. Dream of the untouched land. What if we could have 3 boards with 1 spear? I would not be able to play it this turn. Pyroclastic Flow gives a fire, but it does give me an air. 2 damage, destroy all explorers. Would solve that. I will take that. Let's forget dissolving vapors, as that's expensive. And mountains, wetlands. And this is range from mountains, so I guess also I have to deal with at least one of those ravagers, don't I? Sands build. Throw there. No innates. Okay, gather. Oh. Gather. Actually, let me put my presence in there. The one I just placed. But I can damage the town and then it doesn't do a thing. That's building a city. I guess I'll sacrifice myself because I would rather... Oh, I can move my presence and get out of there. Okay. But I can't... No, actually I can't because I have to leave my presence in there. Okay. Skip. Oh, but it's not enough damage. Oh, kill, destroy the log spores, right. Okay. But stops that build. Years of little rain, aided by water. I have 1 water. Add a presence to land with Dahan. Although if I let the plants die, this town just dies. Then the Dahan dies in the Ravage. That's interesting. Does add a Blight to Sands, if that goes off. Adding a presence to one of my lands with Dahan, and what else is on here? Beast steal damage, defend per Dahan. Beast steal how much damage? Just 1 or 2? 2. That just kills 4 explorers, which aren't really doing anything. Although it's Russia, so they'll keep adding explorers to those lands anyway. Defend 1 is not enough, but we do have a fear card that might help. I would have to forget a water card. Oh my god, can I please not do that? I can do that. Add presence to a land with Dahan. This one. Defend 2 in all lands. There we go. I did it. This game's so easy. Coastal. I will reclaim. And now we'll gain a miner because I'm cheap. Steam vents. There we go. I win. Would be nice to defend B3. I can. I can defend B3. I'm that good. Okay, that's good. A4 is blading. Do I care? Not really. Four fear away from terror level 3. They are building a city in A3. Do I care? Oh. Wait a minute. If I take steam vents, I get the threshold on this. Wait a minute. What do you mean steam vent synergizes with pyroclastic flow? That's not thematic at all. Does it matter though? The threshold on this is plus damage in the wilds. I was thinking of doing it in A4 so it doesn't actually matter the extra damage. Can't really do it in B2 this turn. Steam vents would... I would not have 3 Earth for steam vents, so I'd just destroy and explore with that, which is tragic, but would stop a build. Actually, if I do that, I don't have drift down for B3. That would be sad. Do I take steam vents though, since it synergizes with pyroclastic flow? I don't want to. You can't make me. I'll take favor of the starlit thing. Sun and starlit dark. This and this. And again, I don't have any innates this turn. Whoops. Okay. Numinous Crisis. Uh-huh. Do I want 12 energy? One fear per board with disease. On each board, 2 damage to Dahan and land with disease. Alright, screw you, A2. When invaders ravage Atlanta's Dahan, defend 2. Okay. 12 energy is a lot of energy. Oh no! Immediately, 2 fear, destroy a presence, lose some energy. Oh no. Aha! It's level 2. We have Strife in a land with presence. Each invader with Strife deals damage to other invaders in its land. Uh-huh. That's kind of interesting. Strifing the Explorer in A3 kills the town. Stops the coastal city. Remove an Explorer town from any land. This one. Wetlands. Okay, if I take out the city, I win. wish I did take steam vents. As I would have won. I could gain a major, maybe I find something that wins. After all, I did just gain 1,000,000 energy. Uh-huh. I don't have earth plant. What a tragedy. Manifest incarnation, though. It's right there. I will click that one. And I will forget drift down. And I will add a presence to mountains or wetlands. I get to move a presence too. For whatever that does. Can I play a water air so I can at least do something? Twilight fog, sure. That's blighting, whatever. That's blighting. Interesting. Cool. That's blighting. Cool. That's not building. That is building. Should I play something so that we don't blight in all of these lands? Maybe I shouldn't just play this. I wanted to play a moon air. That doesn't do it. Wait, what did I want? I wanted water air. Yeah, that does something more. Defend 4. Yeah, so I can defend this. That feels better. Currently no valid target for Manifest Incarnation. Not with that attitude. After advancing invader cards, perform a build step for one terrain not shown under any invader action. Beasts deal damage. Dahans with mountains or sands with Dahan. Okay. They keep adding explorers to lands with beasts, and the beasts keep dealing 2 damage. That's rather lackluster. Mountains or sands with Dahan. This one's irrelevant, but has a singleton. And this one's irrelevant and doesn't have a singleton, but the other one is even more irrelevant. Jungle? Alright, so either mountains or sands. Well, I guess if I hadn't clicked sands for that one, maybe I should just do this. And then do sands. Sands. Great build. 10 out of 10. Would build again. I can do it in B6. Wait. No, it doesn't quite win yet. I'm just gonna kill this damaged town. I know it's bad, but then Invader's Ravage, I don't actually have to deal with that. 1 fear away from winning. Oh boy. Sure hope I can find that fear. Sure hope I can find that fear. There's no damage buildings anymore. Oh. Oh no. Push Dahan. Sure hope I can find a fear. Okay. I found it. Yay. Oh, whoops. Maybe I should do it in a land where there's invaders. Yay! I was never worried. Literally. $58 points, 10 for victory, 30 for difficulty 6, 10 for the 5 remaining invader cards, 13 for the 13 surviving Dahan, -5 for the 5 blight. Difficulty 6, even though that was literally just an extra island board and an extra adversary at level 0. So that's a way to farm difficulty, I guess. Wasn't hard though. 6 is a bit of an exaggeration, maybe? I don't know. But I was never worried. Okay. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your stay. I'll be back next Thursday for another exciting installment of Dolphin's Dive. Be sure to check out Handelabra Live on Tuesday for another exciting installment of Handelabra Live. Maybe we'll see content before it is publicly available. Who knows? It's impossible to know. But yeah, that's it for me. Have a good night, everyone. Peace.